Welcome to the recording for week 2 of Computer Fundamentals B class. And you can see that week 2 goes from January 14th to January 20th. And before we jump into that, there's a video right here you can watch how to be successful in online school. So take a look at that. It only runs about 8 minutes. Hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. Also, I have a new announcement called Index of Class Recordings. So I'll have all the recordings listed here, but of course the recordings are also in the units on the left side. So you've seen those before. So let's jump right into week 2. So week 2, you'll start with unit 6, and please notice here that unit 6 actually goes for week 2 and week 3, so you'll only do part of unit 6 work right here. That's all this recording covers, is just this part. Then the unit 3 or the week 3 recording will cover the rest of unit 6. So for this unit, this would be the Tuesday work, this would be the Thursday work, and I'll need to remember to put Tuesday up here so you can see the work that you need to do. So you're watching this recording now, you'll complete and submit the write-up, then you'll go through the sections and you'll start doing one of the project activities. So I'll go ahead down into the unit, and of course there's the recording right here. That's how you got into this. Here's the write-up. So there are the questions for the write-up, and as you've done previously for the write-ups, remember you just highlight all of this information from right here. Then you right-click, copy, paste it into a word processor, find the answers as you watch this recording, type the answers in, and then highlight and paste all that into the Dropbox as text, not as an attached file, so as text. All right, let's jump into this. So the first couple questions from section 2, what does it mean to have a toolbox to fix computer problems? It lists the 3 Microsoft Office tools to create data and what they're usually used for. In section 1, we'll start looking at this first, but it says, if all you have is a hammer, then all your problems are nails. So what that means is that if you only have one tool to use, then all your problems look to be the same. Of course, in Microsoft Office, there are multiple tools. So you can read down here, it talks about having multiple tools and things like that. So, sometimes we run into a rut and try to fix every problem the same way. Well, with technology, with computers, we don't fix every problem the same way. We use spreadsheets for something, we use word processor for something else, we use PowerPoint for something else to solve those types of problems. And that's what we're going to be learning about. Now the other thing is, this talks about toolbox. This doesn't mean a toolbox like a wrench or a screwdriver to fix computer problems. This means a toolbox, meaning the proper applications and knowledge to solve computer production issues, computer data issues. Like, what do you use for word processing? Or what do you use if you want to do a report? What do you use if you want to do some number comparisons? What do you use if you have a presentation? So we're thinking about computer tools and applications, not tools that are on a tool belt. Okay, in section 2, so analyzing a problem, that's what you need to do. Then you choose the right computer tool to use. This talks about, Tiger Woods playing golf. He doesn't use just a putter. He uses a variety of clubs when he plays. So in computer applications class, computer fundamentals, we have to use the right tools to solve the problems that we have. And in this section, you're going to analyze the problems and determine the right tool to use different applications to gather, evaluate, and use information, select appropriate applications for the problem. This first part will just walk you through a couple of self-tests, so you can go ahead and click one of those and check your answers on that. Another little self-test, so you can check your answers on that. And the quick reflection, what do these things do? Well, of course, word processor, Microsoft Word, is for document authoring. So this would be, if you don't use Microsoft Word, but if you use OpenOffice has a program like Word, a program like Excel, and a program like PowerPoint. So Excel, spreadsheets and analysis, and that should say number analysis, I think. And finally, Microsoft PowerPoint is used for presentations. So those are what the 3 Office applications are usually used for. So a couple more self-assessments here, see if you can figure out the answers to those. And as a warm-up activity before you start getting into the work, some questions you can kind of ask yourself before you start a project. What will my data be? And who will use my data? What tool should I use? Will I present the information or I just give it to somebody to read? How much time will the reader have to spend on my data? So things to think about before you start putting together data work and presentations and such. So in summary, we looked at well, information can be presented with multiple tools. Obviously, most times there's a method that is better than the other. You must consciously decide which tool will not only get your point across better, but will help your audience understand your information better. So now we're getting into section 3, so getting your message across. So let's go back to the Class Connect write-up. And we answered these, didn't we? What does it mean to have a toolbox to fix computer problems? I talked about that. 3 main office applications, I showed you that. Section 3, explain what an elevator pitch is. What are the 3 main characteristics of a good tagline? Explain what the Goldilocks rule is. Explain what the Rudolph rule is, and there's 3 ways to demonstrate it. So in section 3, so getting your message across, that's what this is all about. So you may be an expert in your field, but just because you're an expert doesn't mean you can share effectively with somebody what you know. So you need to be able to get your message across. So that's what this talks about. So, presenting things effectively requires you to structure your talk to engage the audience, get them interested in what you have to say. So in this section, we're going to look at effectively communicating using the right applications, processing data and report results, and finally selecting the appropriate applications for the task you have or the problem you need to solve. Now, the executive summary is really it's the way you summarize a set of data. Sometimes you might have it in a report, or like when I write grants for schools and such, the executive summary is a quick 1, 2, or 3 paragraph thing telling them what the whole project is about. But for you, what you want to do, this says right here, you want to try to get hired by a company. You're in an elevator with the president. She's going to the 10th floor, so that means from the ground floor to the 10th floor, you have about 30 seconds to tell her why she should hire you. So obviously you want to pick the most important points and present it the most effective way. That's what's called an elevator pitch. So essentially an elevator pitch is getting your information and finding the most important points and presenting it the most effective way. That's what an elevator pitch is. And executive summaries, there are lots of executive summaries, and this talks about like the top 10 books, and you can click here to look at the beginning sentence of some of the top novels. So sometimes you can read these sentences, and the sentences for the top novels are made to engage people in wanting to read the books. And now we're getting into some of the things that you're going to have to do. Taglines are important when you have mostly in a presentation because you want to engage the reader, right? So if you look at tagline, it can draw the reader in, it can summarize the text, whatever it happens to be, but take a look at these 2 taglines. Research results, is that very engaging? Not really. How about Dr. Fine's link between gray hair and donuts? Well, that's really engaging, right? People are going to want to read that. So that's where taglines are important, and you need to know this because the assignment you're going to do for Project 1, you're going to be working with taglines. And more about taglines. So here are the 3 things. Tagline has a noun and a verb rather than just a noun. Tagline should have some drama or some effect that engages the people, and it would use less scientific terms. So you're not going to have really scientific words in a tagline. So look at a newspaper and see if you can see the difference in different taglines on a newspaper. A couple of rules. The Goldilocks rule. Of course, you know the story of Goldilocks, right? One bed was too hard, one bed was too soft, and one was just right. Well, when you're presenting data, you need to present it just right. That's what the Goldilocks rule is, presenting data just right. So you can kind of read this a little bit. So Goldilocks is just making sure that you have the right information for what your audience needs. Present just the right amount of information for what you want to say, not too much or not too little. That's the Goldilocks rule. Then there's also something called the Rudolph rule. And the Rudolph rule, what it says is you want to make information stand out, just like Rudolph's red nose stands out, right? And there are many ways you can do that, but 3 examples is you can use a different color for the text you want to stand out. You can make it bold, you can put a circle around it, you could underline it, you can put it in italics. There are lots of ways you can make things stand out, aren't there? So that's what the Rudolph rule is. And the reason you need to know that is because the assignment you have to do. Use the Rudolph rule. So in summary, we learned about executive summaries, elevator pitch, and what that is. We looked at taglines, and we also learned about the Rudolph rule and the Goldilocks rule. Now you have here's your first assignment, Project 1. In this assignment, look at it carefully. It says you're going to pick a topic. It can be anything you want to do. Baseball, tennis, Corvette, a favorite game show, or favorite TV show or song or band or something. Be whatever you want. And you're going to make one slide PowerPoint, or if you're in Open Office, you'll use the Open Office presentation tool. And the slide should have a title and a bulleted text box. In the bulleted text box, you're going to have 3 facts about your topic. So if you're doing a band, the title box will have the name of the band, and then your bullets might just be 3 of their songs. Each of those bullets. Or 3 facts about the band, where they started, who's in it, and what their best song is, something like that. Then you're going to use the Rudolph rule to highlight one of those facts. So use the Rudolph rule for one of those 3 facts that you have, one of those 3 bulleted facts. And you're going to save it with this exact name. Now if you're using Open Office, don't give it PowerPoint. Now the other thing is when you save the name, PowerPoint will automatically give it PPT at the end, so you don't have to put .ppt. It will automatically save that, because I don't want to see any files with .ptt, .ppt on it. If you accidentally do that, then fix it before you send it. So that's the first one. Now the second one, so you have that one done. Then you go and do File Save As, and you save it with this name, a B name, and then you change that one. It's going to be the same topic, but you're going to change the tagline. So let's say your topic was baseball. So in A, you might have just your title as baseball, which is boring, right? And then for the tagline, for B, for a more interesting tagline, you might have baseball, : this is America's game, or America's game for over 100 years, something like that. So that's the difference between just a boring heading that you'll have in A and the tagline, the exciting tagline that you'll use in B. So that explains it. You can go down here to download the assignment document. You can go here to see how it's graded. So that's Project 1, and you turn both of those in. You attach those in the same Dropbox. Attach them together in the same Dropbox. Turn in both assignments at the same time. Okay, let's go back to our write-up. And in our write-up, so we did these, right? Elevator pitch, 3 main characteristics of a tagline, Goldilocks rule, explain the Rudolph rule, and list 3 ways to demonstrate the Rudolph rule. So we talked about those. Section 4, how is a charter a useful tool? What type of tool do Microsoft applications have to help you work more easily? And finally, explain why you need a legend on a chart. So, Section 4. Now we're going to start talking about charting. In this activity, you can see what a chart is, a graphic representation of numeric data. It's an effective way to present large amounts of data simply. So that's what a chart is. And you're going to use Excel. In OpenOffice, you'll use the spreadsheet tool that they have. So in this section, we're going to learn how to create charts, use the chart wizard, place a chart in another document. So composing your chart. So this one, they're going to have a sample activity where you're going to compose a chart showing gas prices. Now what you want to do, you're going to go through this because this is going to be the beginning of the project for this, the work that's due on this Project 2 assignment. So you want to have open right now a spreadsheet application. You're going to put this information exactly where it is on this demonstration. You're going to have that in your own spreadsheet application. And I'll do a demonstration of this, but you'll see you're going to put this stuff in exactly. And then you're going to create a chart from this. And Microsoft Office has these tools that are called wizards that can help you do all kinds of things. This happens to be the chart wizard. PowerPoint has wizards. Word processor has wizards, but that's one of the Class Connect write-up question. It talks about wizards. That's a tool that Microsoft Office has to make things easy for you. And you can see where you can find the wizard right there once you create your chart. So you'll go ahead and create this chart. Check your data, make sure it looks right, that your legend is correct, and all the dates appear right, and the numbers appear right. Add formatting to make it look nice, so you'll work through all of that. Then you're going to make sure the legend is right, so you can see what a legend is. A legend identifies the different lines on the chart with different information. So that's what a legend is useful for. Legend tells people what the chart is about, what the chart is demonstrating. So that's the importance of a legend. That's one of your Class Connect write-up answers, I believe. Then next, you're going to place the chart somewhere in your spreadsheet. Finally, to summarize, so in this section you learned how to generate a chart, how to format a chart. Then when you move on, this is Project 2. So Project 2, I'll have a different presentation for this to walk you through it. But in Project 2, you're going to use that information that you created in the last, as you went through this. And in Project 2, you're going to add a column C with your own state averages. So you'll have some Colorado averages. Now, if you can't find Colorado information for gas prices, then you can just fake it and put it in. Then you'll end up with a line plot chart that shows the national average and the state average, and you'll have the legend. And you'll submit that. And I would just submit that with the name Unit 6 Project 2. Since it doesn't give you a name to save it as. Then you know exactly what it is. So just call it Unit 6 Project 2. And I'll create, again, a demonstration on how to do this work. So to go back to the write-up, make sure we answer all the questions from this part. How's a chart a useful tool? I talked about that. What type of tool do Microsoft Office applications have? Well, they have wizards that help you do things easily. Explain why you need a legend on a chart. Well, you need a legend on a chart so people will know what the chart is presenting. That's your way of explaining your data. So that's all I have for this recording, so I look forward to your work coming in. And again, I'll have the 2 assignments in here. I'll have a couple of recordings showing your work in those assignments. Okay, thanks everyone. I look forward to your work coming in. Bye.